Welcome back, legends! Today, we're breaking down the greatest truck rivalry of all time, why the Chevy Silverado is better than the Ford F-150. From steel strength to pure torque, we've got 21 savage reasons that'll have Silverado fans nodding and Ford fans scrambling for excuses. Buckle up, this debate's about to get loud! Silverado's design is pure muscle, not a soccer dad truck. When you see a Silverado rolling up, you don't wonder if it belongs in the school drop-off line or the construction site. You just know. The Silverado carries itself with raw, unapologetic muscle. Wide stance, bold grille, squared-off lines that look like they could punch through drywall. That's the vibe. Compare that to the Ford F-150, which has slowly morphed into something closer to a family SUV with a bed attached. It's softer, rounder, almost like Ford is designing it for suburban grocery runs instead of hauling lumber. The Silverado doesn't need to pretend. It screams, "I'm here to work, I'm here to haul, and I'll still look good doing it." It's the difference between a heavyweight boxer and a dad in khakis trying to play pickup basketball. Silverado design has character. It tells a story of grit, while the F-150 design feels like it's begging for approval. Real truck fans don't want cute, they want steel and presence. And the Silverado delivers that every time. Chevy loyalty runs deeper than Ford fan excuses. There's a reason you'll hear, "Chevy runs deep," and not "Ford explains a lot." Chevy owners don't just drive Silverados, they swear by them, generation after generation. You'll find families where the granddad had a Silverado, the dad has a Silverado, and the kid is already saving up for his own. That's legacy. Meanwhile, Ford fans, their loyalty usually comes with an asterisk. "Yeah, I drive a Ford, but I've had to replace the transmission twice." Or, "Sure, the F-150 is good, but it rattles when I hit 60. Excuses, excuses, excuses. It's like a bad relationship. They defend it even while admitting it's falling apart. Chevy fans don't need excuses. They've got history, dependability, and an unshakable community. Go to a truck meet, and Silverado owners are swapping stories about what their trucks have hauled, not what broke down last month. Ford loyalty feels like denial. Chevy loyalty feels like pride. And that difference shows up on the road, at the job site, and in the parking lot. Silverado loyalty is earned. Ford loyalty is just habit. Hold up, your turn. Drop your funniest, smartest, or most savage reason why the Silverado crushes the F-150. Best clapbacks make it into a user's edition, so bring the heat. And yes, Ford fans, we're watching too. Silverado interiors look tough without fake luxury. Step inside a Silverado and it feels like a truck, rugged, bold, built to last. You've got big, functional controls you can operate with work gloves on, seating that's durable yet comfortable, and layouts that make sense for people who actually use their trucks. It's honest. Now compare that to the F-150 interior. It's basically a wannabe luxury car with leather accents and giant screens that look like they belong in a Tesla knockoff. Don't get it twisted. Fancy tech and shiny plastic don't make a truck tougher. It just makes it feel like Ford's trying to distract you from what's under the hood. Silverado interiors don't pretend to be something they're not. They're designed for people who throw muddy boots on the floor mats, toss tools in the back seat, and don't panic when coffee spills. Ford interiors, they're made for the guy who's still wiping down his dashboard with Armor All while avoiding dirt roads. Silverado's cabin screams authenticity. It says, "This truck is for life, not just for show." Ford can keep its leather-wrapped midlife crisis. Chevy keeps it real. Built for real work, not Instagram flexing. The Silverado isn't trying to win likes, it's trying to win jobs. When you look at Chevy's approach, it's all about durability, towing power, payload, and ruggedness. This is the truck that construction crews, ranchers, and actual hardworking people depend on. It doesn't need filters, hashtags, or a photo shoot at a coffee shop parking lot. Meanwhile, the Ford F-150 has become the poster child for look-at-me truck culture. Half the time, you see them parked outside gyms or malls, polished to a mirror shine, but never carrying more than a bag of groceries. That's not a truck, that's an accessory. Silverado owners don't care if their truck has a scratch, that's a battle scar. They care that it hauls trailers, moves dirt, and survives the abuse of real life. Ford tries too hard to appeal to everyone, from luxury lovers to lifestyle influencers, and ends up diluting what a truck is supposed to be. The Silverado doesn't play that game. It stays focused on work, grit and reliability. Bottom line, the F-150 is an Instagram model. The Silverado is the one actually putting in the hours. Chevy engines roar louder and prouder. Turn the key on a Silverado and you don't just start an engine, you summon thunder. Chevy's V8s have a reputation for producing a deep, satisfying growl that lets everyone within a block know you're driving something serious. That sound isn't just noise, it's heritage. Decades of engineering muscle distilled into one unmistakable roar. Ford F-150s, they sound like they're apologizing for existing. Between the turbocharged EcoBoost V6s and smaller engines, you don't get that chest-rattling rumble. You get a high-pitched whine that makes you wonder if a hairdryer's running under the hood. Sure, Ford brags about efficiency and numbers, but let's be real. No one buys a truck to sound like a Prius in disguise. Trucks are supposed to growl, not whisper. Silverado engines make a statement before they even hit the road. This truck means business. And the best part? That roar comes with durability and proven performance, not just marketing buzzwords. Ford might play the numbers game, but Chevy plays the pride game. And nothing says pride louder than a Silverado engine at full throttle. Silverado's bed doesn't cry under pressure. A truck bed isn't for show, it's for work. The Silverado's bed is built to take abuse. Heavy loads, sharp tools, gravel, lumber, you name it. It's like a steel boxing ring that's always ready for the next round. Chevy's high-strength steel bed doesn't flinch when life gets rough. You can toss in cinder blocks or drag around a toolbox without worrying it'll bend like cardboard. Now let's talk Ford. The F-150's aluminum bed? Yeah, it saves a little weight, but it also dents if you look at it funny. Drop a toolbox in the back and suddenly you've got a crater that looks like a meteor hit. Silverado owners laugh at that because they know their beds can handle real work without looking like Swiss cheese afterward. A truck bed should be battle-ready, not babied. Silverado beds take punishment with pride, while Ford beds whimper under the same load. At the end of the day, you need a bed that works harder than you do. The Silverado delivers that toughness, while Ford's aluminum experiment feels like it belongs in a soda can recycling bin. Ford recalls are practically a Silverado fan club recruitment ad. Every time Ford announces another recall, Chevy fans get a fresh wave of new believers. Seriously, it's like free advertising. From faulty transmissions to engine issues to electrical gremlins, the F-150 has earned a reputation for sending its owners back to the dealership again and again. It's almost a rite of passage for Ford drivers. Buy the truck, brag a little, then wait for the recall notice in the mail. Silverado owners, they're too busy working their trucks to keep track of Ford's endless fix-it bulletins. Nothing kills loyalty faster than reliability roulette, and Ford plays it every year. Chevy may not be perfect, but when you look at recall statistics, Silverado stands taller and steadier. That stability is exactly why so many frustrated Ford fans eventually trade keys and never look back. It's not just about the inconvenience either. Recalls cost time, money, and trust. A truck isn't worth bragging about if it spends half its life on a lift at the dealer. The Silverado wins here because it stays out of the shop and on the road where a truck belongs. Silverado rides smoother on rough roads. Take a Silverado down a dirt trail, a rutted job site, or even just a cracked city street, and you'll feel the difference instantly. Chevy engineered the Silverado's suspension to balance toughness with comfort, meaning you don't get shaken like a can of spray paint every time you hit a bump. It's rugged where it needs to be, but smooth enough that long drives don't feel like punishment. Now, the Ford F-150 likes to brag about its advanced suspension. But let's be honest, it often feels stiff and jittery, especially when the bed's empty. That aluminum body doesn't help either. It transmits every little rattle right into the cabin. Silverado drivers, on the other hand, get a truck that's ready for uneven terrain without feeling like you're riding a mechanical bull. That's why you'll see Silverados just as often cruising highways as you will crawling through work sites. It adapts. Ford may handle okay on paper, but Silverado delivers where it counts, in real-world comfort and control. It's the difference between driving a confident heavyweight and bouncing around in a tin can with wheels. Chevy steel beats Ford's aluminum soda cans. Here's the deal. Silverado beds and frames use high-strength steel, while Ford made the bold choice to switch to aluminum. Sure, aluminum saves weight, but it also saves you from having a truck that can actually take a hit. Drop a toolbox in a Silverado bed and it shrugs it off. Drop one in an F-150 bed and you've got dents deep enough to hide a coin collection. Chevy stuck with steel because real truck owners know toughness isn't optional. Steel bends less, resists damage better, and inspires confidence when you're hauling serious loads. Ford fans like to spin the aluminum switch as modern innovation, but everyone knows it was really about cutting costs and boosting fuel economy numbers, not about making a stronger truck. The truth? An F-150 body feels closer to a soda can than a workhorse. Silverado owners don't baby their trucks, and they don't need to. Steel means you can throw the unexpected at it. Rocks, tools, jobs that go sideways, and it keeps rolling. Aluminum might belong in airplanes and beer cans, but in a truck bed? That's Ford's joke, not Chevy's problem. Silverado drivers don't need to overcompensate. Owning a Silverado says, I've got a truck and it does the job. No need for oversized lift kits, chrome everything, or tailgate flexing in the Home Depot parking lot. Silverado drivers know their truck speaks for itself. Meanwhile, how many times have you seen an F-150 rolling by with tires big enough to crush a Prius, light bars that could guide airplanes, and exhaust pipes screaming for attention? It's the classic overcompensation move. When your truck can't win on grit, you dress it up like a Halloween costume. Silverado owners, they're not trying to convince anyone. They're hauling, towing, and getting real work done. And let's be honest, when you see a Silverado, you nod because it's solid. When you see an overdone F-150, you laugh because it looks like someone's trying way too hard. Chevy built a truck that doesn't need ego boosts. Ford built one that too often doubles as a midlife crisis toy. Bottom line, Silverado owners don't flex their trucks. Their trucks flex on the competition all by themselves. Chevy transmissions last longer than Ford friendships. Ask a Silverado owner about their transmission, and most will tell you it's solid, dependable, and built to go the distance. Ask a Ford F-150 owner, and you'll probably hear a sigh followed by a long story about that one time the transmission gave out way too early. Ford has had a notorious history with transmission issues, from rough shifting to complete failures, and it's one of those things that keeps mechanics smiling and Ford fans frustrated. Chevy transmissions, on the other hand, are designed to handle real loads and real driving conditions, not just suburban commutes. Silverado owners rely on their trucks to tow, haul, and grind through miles without worrying if the next shift will be their last. Reliability isn't just a spec on paper, it's peace of mind, and that's exactly what Chevy delivers. Ford friendships? Those last about as long as the first major repair bill. People ditch loyalty fast when they can't trust their truck. Silverado transmissions earn trust the old-fashioned way, by lasting. And in the truck world, longevity is respect. Chevy's got it. Ford still can't figure it out. Silverado styling ages like whiskey, Ford like milk. The Silverado has that timeless, squared-off look that just keeps getting better with age. You can see a 10-year-old Silverado on the road, and it still looks bold, rugged, and ready to work. It's the kind of design that holds up whether it's covered in dust from a job site or polished for a night out. The F-150? Not so much. Ford keeps chasing trends, softening edges, reshaping grills, and adding gimmicky design cues that look dated the moment the next refresh rolls out. It's like milk in the fridge. Good for a little while, then suddenly it's spoiled. Silverado owners don't worry about their truck going out of style because Chevy nailed a look that's equal parts tough and classic. Even older models still turn heads because they embody authenticity, not fashion trends. Meanwhile, used F-150s often look like relics of whatever design fad Ford was experimenting with that year. Longevity isn't just about engines and transmissions, it's about presence. And Silverado styling carries itself with the confidence of whiskey aging in oak barrels, while Ford's look goes sour before you've even finished your lease. More reliable in snow, mud, and actual life. When conditions get ugly, snowstorms, muddy job sites, flooded back roads, the Silverado proves why it's the truck you want. Chevy engineers these rigs with stability, traction, and durability in mind. Silverado four-wheel drive feels planted and dependable, whether you're crawling through muck or powering through icy highways. It's a truck that inspires confidence when life throws chaos your way. Now look at the F-150. Sure, Ford brags about its off-road packages, but how many of those trucks are actually slogging through real conditions? Too often, you see them fishtailing in snow or hesitating in mud like they're afraid to get dirty. Silverado owners know their trucks can handle the elements without turning into a liability. It's not about marketing buzzwords, it's about showing up when conditions are toughest. And when you live in places where winter isn't a joke or work sites aren't paved playgrounds, that difference matters. Reliability isn't just measured in sunny, dry conditions, it's proven in the extremes. Silverado handles snow, mud, and real life like a champ. Ford, more like a city truck caught pretending to be rugged. Silverado fans don't need commercials every 5 minutes. Chevy Silverado drivers don't need a constant barrage of ads telling them they made the right choice. The truck proves it every day on the road and at the job site. Meanwhile, Ford seems to think that blasting commercials during every football game, YouTube ad break, and radio segment is the only way to keep the F-150 relevant. If the truck was that good, would you really need to remind people nonstop? Silverado fans laugh at this because Chevy doesn't need to shove loyalty down your throat. The truck builds it naturally. Word of mouth, family tradition, and real-world performance are Chevy's marketing campaigns. Ford fans, on the other hand, are constantly fed slogans like "Built Ford Tough," as if repeating it enough times will make it true. Silverado doesn't need a catchphrase. It's already living proof of toughness. When a truck delivers, it doesn't need a hype man. Chevy owners know it, Ford knows it, and deep down, even Ford drivers know it. The Silverado sells itself, while the F-150 relies on commercials to remind people what it's supposed to be. That says it all. Chevy trucks don't squeak like Fords in year 3. A Silverado that's a few years old still feels solid. Close the doors, hit a bump, or take it on a rough trail, you won't hear a chorus of squeaks and rattles. Chevy builds their trucks with materials and assembly that hold up over time. Now, the F-150, by year 3, it starts sounding like a percussion section warming up. Dash rattles, door squeaks, bed noises. It's like the truck is trying to perform its own soundtrack. And nothing kills the feeling of tough faster than your interior buzzing like a swarm of bees every time you drive over a pothole. Silverado owners don't deal with that embarrassment. Their trucks age with dignity, staying tight and sturdy even after years of hard use. Ford fans, meanwhile, either crank up the radio to drown out the noises or start hunting down the latest recall fix. A truck should get stronger with time, not noisier. Chevy understood that and built the Silverado to resist the annoying wear and tear that makes other trucks feel cheap. At the end of the day, quiet strength beats squeaky pretenders, and the Silverado proves it every mile. Silverado means heritage, Ford means hype. When you buy a Silverado, you're stepping into a lineage that's been about real work, real grit, and real legacy. Chevy's truck history is tied to farmers, ranchers, builders, and everyday people who needed a machine they could trust. That's why families pass Silverados down from generation to generation. The truck carries a story. Now, look at the Ford F-150. Its legacy is less about heritage and more about marketing hype. Ford has spent decades shouting "Built Ford Tough" like a broken record, but toughness is earned, not advertised. The Silverado doesn't need a catchphrase because its reputation speaks louder than any slogan. When you see a Chevy truck from the past, you see history that's still running strong. When you see an old Ford, you usually see it up on blocks or rusting in the corner of a field. Chevy's heritage is living proof that performance and pride age well. Ford's hype fades with the next flashy ad campaign. Silverado means tradition built in steel. Ford means commercials built in desperation. One is passed down with pride, the other is traded in with relief. Chevy torque hits harder than Ford marketing. When you put your foot down in a Silverado, you feel it. That surge of torque isn't just numbers on a spec sheet. It's raw power moving trailers, boats, and heavy loads like they're nothing. Chevy engineers their trucks to deliver torque where it matters. Low-end grunt that gets real work done. Meanwhile, Ford loves to drown fans in marketing slides about best-in-class this and segment-leading that. But here's the thing. Torque isn't about bragging rights, it's about performance you can actually feel every single day. And Silverado drivers feel it. Hook up a trailer to an F-150, and suddenly that best-in-class talk feels more like wishful thinking. The Silverado doesn't just promise, it delivers with torque that makes towing easier, acceleration stronger, and jobs less stressful. Ford hides behind buzzwords. Chevy hides nothing. The truth is, in the pull, the push, and the way the truck responds when it's time to work. Marketing can sell you hype, but torque sells you results. And in that battle, the Silverado punches way harder than the Ford F-150 ever could. Silverado owners work, Ford owners talk. The Silverado is the truck you see on job sites, farms, and ranches, places where work is non-stop and excuses don't matter. Chevy owners don't just show up, they get things done. The Silverado is hauling loads, towing gear, and putting in hours without complaint. Meanwhile, F-150 owners are usually talking about what their truck could do if only they had the chance. It's all coffee shop conversations and driveway bragging rights. Ford owners love to recite specs like they're reading a brochure, but when it comes time to move a trailer or load up heavy gear, it's often the Silverado stepping in to finish the job. That's the difference. One truck is built for work, the other is built for talk. And nothing proves it more than how each group of owners uses their trucks. Silverado drivers don't have to convince anyone, the results speak for themselves. The F-150 might win debates in marketing meetings, but Silverado wins them in the dirt, on the road, and everywhere work is real. Chevy owners get dirty, Ford owners get chatty. And that's why Silverado stays king of the job site. Chevy trims look bold, Ford trims look confused. From the base work truck to the high country, Silverado trims actually make sense. Each step up gives you more capability, style, and comfort, without looking like Chevy threw darts at a design board. The Silverado lineup is clean and confident. Rugged work models for labor, trail-focused trims for off-road warriors, and premium additions for those who want a little shine without losing grit. Ford's F-150 trims, it's like they couldn't decide what direction to go, so they tried all of them at once. One trim looks like a work truck, another looks like a luxury sedan in disguise, and then you've got random packages with styling that feels slapped together. It's confusion on wheels. Silverado trims keep their identity consistent, bold, squared, and undeniably truck. Ford trims look like they're desperately chasing trends, trying to appeal to everyone but impressing no one. When you line them up side by side, Silverado trims look like part of a strong family. Ford trims look like distant cousins who barely talk. Consistency matters, and Chevy nailed it. Ford's lineup, a styling identity crisis wrapped in aluminum. Silverado equals respect at the job site, Ford equals memes. When you roll up to a job site in a Silverado, people give you the nod. It's instant respect because everyone knows that truck means business. It's a symbol of reliability, toughness, and actual hard work. Now, roll up in an F-150, and more often than not, you're the punchline. Between endless recalls, aluminum bed dents, and the reputation for being more of a mall crawler than a workhorse, the Ford has become meme material. Silverado owners don't need to prove anything. Their trucks already carry the weight of credibility. F-150 drivers, they're constantly explaining, defending, or laughing off jokes about their truck's weaknesses. A Silverado earns respect the old-fashioned way. Performance that speaks louder than marketing. That's why you'll find them on farms, construction sites, and in fleets where reliability isn't optional. Ford has built a reputation, sure, but mostly as the truck you roast when you want an easy laugh. At the end of the day, Chevy represents work, Ford represents memes, and only one of those gets the job done without being laughed at in the process. Real truckers nod at a Silverado, laugh at an F-150. There's an unspoken language among truckers, the nod. When two Silverado drivers pass each other on the highway or at the job site, there's that subtle head tilt of respect. It's a recognition that says, yeah, you're driving the real deal. Silverado owners know they're part of a community built on toughness, tradition, and trust. Now, bring an F-150 into the mix, and the reaction changes. Instead of respect, it's usually a smirk or a laugh, because everyone knows the Ford's reputation. From aluminum beds that dent like soda cans to engines that don't live up to the hype, the F-150 has become the butt of countless jokes in the truck world. Silverado drivers don't need to explain themselves. Their truck's presence says it all. Ford drivers, on the other hand, are stuck defending their choice while Chevy drivers are busy hauling, towing, and working. That nod of respect, it can't be faked, bought, or advertised. It's earned. And the Silverado has been earning it for decades. The F-150 might get commercials, but the Silverado gets the nod. And in truck culture, the nod is everything. Thanks for riding with us, legends! Now it's your turn. Drop your best takes in the comments, and let's keep this Silverado versus F-150 war rolling. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the Users Edition where your arguments could steal the spotlight. 21 reasons why. Epic debates, legendary comments.